caregivers.
Welcome back. This is the Senior Zone, and I'm your host, Shawn Perry. This segment is unlike any other we've done in the lifespan of the Senior Zone, to my recollection, in that we are seeking your help. AARP Foundation's Experience Corps DC is seeking new volunteers to help improve literacy rates among students impacted by the pandemic. Students have lost anywhere from 3 to 6 months in learning as it relates to literacy as a result of the pandemic, and this loss does not account for the additional losses expected to occur over the summer. Public schools have asked Experience Corps DC to help them combat this learning loss by offering more tutoring opportunities for students across the city, and they need more tutors in order to serve students across the District of Columbia. With us now is Mr. Tony Taylor, Branch Director for the AARP Foundation Experience Corps team of the DC Metro program. Good morning, Tony.
Hey, good morning, Shawn. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on, and I am hoping that my seniors raise their hand in numbers that you can't handle. But before we dive into that, Tony, explain to our listeners, including myself, what is Experience Corps? How did it come to exist?
Sure. So Experience Corps is a community-based volunteer program that engages highly trained people over the age of 50 as tutors to help students become better readers by the end of the third grade. It's a proven triple win by helping students to succeed, older adults to thrive, and communities to grow stronger. Mm-hmm. And we've been in business, in operation here in DC since 1999. We've been tutoring public schools for the past few decades, students in public schools for the past few decades.
Well, thank your organization for its service throughout the District of Columbia since 1999. So explain to our listeners, Tony, what's the profile of a typical volunteer? Do they need experience in education, formal training in education?
Yeah, that's one of the most amazing things about the program. We recruit anyone over the age of 50 who has a heart and passion for service, and in particular service to kids in schools. For over the age of 50, what we've seen is that most of our volunteers are retired, or they might have a smaller part-time job, but they have the ability to commit a few hours a week consistently for a full year to this program. But we're talking about doctors, former doctors, lawyers, police officers, firefighters. One of our current site leads, who's a volunteer, is a former DCPS school principal. So we're recruiting everyone from across the city. All you need is a passion and a heart for the work, because we will train you extensively before you get into the classroom.
Good stuff. Our kids need your help if you're able to provide the time. If you can dive a little deeper in terms of the time commitment. You mentioned a couple of days a week. Is it any more than that? How many hours per day, et cetera?
Sure. Yeah. So typically it's 2 days a week, up to about 5 hours a week. But to be honest with you, because of this pandemic, we're really pushing volunteers to extend it to 3 days a week, because research has shown that 3 days a week or 90 minutes a week of tutoring is considered high dosage tutoring, and which is considered high impact. And that's what we need to really combat this learning loss that's occurred through the pandemic.
Okay, good stuff. What schools are you partnering with? Where are they located, et cetera?
Sure. So we're all over the city right now. I don't think we're in every ward, but we're in most wards in the city. Mm-hmm. So we're in public charter schools like Mundo Verde, DC Bilingual, as well as DCPS schools like Moton Elementary and Patterson Elementary. I believe those are both in Ward 8. So we're in Ward 8, Ward 7. We're also in Wards 1, 5, 6, and I believe 4 as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping this next question that I have really touches a chord and strikes the core of those out there. There are many volunteer opportunities. We're not short for a need for volunteer help across the DMV. But why should people really genuinely consider this opportunity with Experience Corps?
That's a great question, because it's not for everyone. For starters, we do require everyone to be trained up to 16 hours for pre-service training, because the way we see it is, if you're coming in to volunteer and serve our students, you're coming in because you really want to make a difference. And I think that is the key difference between our program and the others out there. We're not just looking for bodies to come in and say they volunteered and support it. When you come into our program, you are going to make a difference in reducing poverty in the future for these kids. You're coming into the program and you'll be able to see measurable gains for students in the reading rates. It's proven. So that is a huge difference, in my opinion, is the fact that when you come into our program and you serve for a year, you are going to make a real difference in that child's life.
Yeah. What I like about it, Tony, is, in addition to what you've said, and all of what you've said is important, is just that that intergenerational exchange that you get. That's another additional benefit that those that volunteer, right? They get the benefit of that exchange from youth to older adult, and the older adult gets just the opposite, right? And it's a win-win, for all. So I'm hoping that those that are out there, that are able and willing, raise their hand. This is a great volunteer opportunity. Tony, I want to, in the middle of this discussion, if you can, give out that contact information now. We're going to mention it several times during our discussion. If you have it available, give out the contact number. Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to reach us is 202-434-6349. Again, 202-434-6349. All the calls to that number will go directly to our recruiter, Denise Fraction. Good stuff. Good stuff. So will folks, will they be tutoring in person, or will this also be, will this be a virtual opportunity exclusively? So that's the $1 million question. So schools want tutors to return to in-person tutoring next year. That's what all of our partners want. However, we're also considering the implications of that in terms of health safety. So we are preparing to serve in person next year. There are a few sites that want to do virtual tutoring only, which is good that we have a balance. But our hope, and based on, if we continue to trend in terms of the rates dropping in DC, that we will be able to tutor in person. Again, that's not a firm response because, again, there's the variant coming up, so anything could change. But as it stands, we're expecting and hoping we will tutor in person. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're able to answer this particular question, but if you can, that's great. Will vaccinations be required for those that will provide in-person training? That's a really great question. So as it stands, what we're doing is we're relying on the particular school policy and protocol. So a lot of schools are requiring people to be vaccinated. As an organization, we are not allowed to require that. I think it's not, again, even that's a policy that's changing every day, or throughout the summer. Personally, so right now you are not required to be vaccinated, but of course, as the branch director, as a person who is concerned for everyone's health, I would strongly encourage anyone who wants to do this to be vaccinated for their own safety and also for the safety of the kids. The reality is the kids you're serving are not vaccinated because they cannot be vaccinated yet. So the idea of putting a volunteer in the school building with students that cannot be vaccinated is a little unsettling to me. So we strongly prefer and encourage anyone who wants to volunteer to be vaccinated. I ditto that, 1,000%, Tony. I encourage everyone to get vaccinated. But let's move on with this discussion here, because I want to talk about the students. What are from the program that you've put together? What can students expect? What are the desired outcomes that you seek for students? Then I'm going to follow that up with the same question, but also for volunteers. So speak to that. What are the program outcomes for students as well as volunteers? So we're only doing this because we believe we're going to have an impact on every student that we touch in our tutoring program. And currently, almost 70% of our students improve in their reading literacy rates by at least half a grade, and almost half improve by a full grade level. And that's really, that's meaningful change for a student. I mean, that is closing the gap. And that's why, again, the volunteers we bring in are making a real difference in that student's life. Yeah, I mean, the feeling that I'm having, the sensation that I'm having from learning about this program and just to give back at this time in an older adult's life, I can't see why folks just don't want to raise their hand and won't raise their hand if they are able to do so. So I'm excited to learn more about this program, Tony, and how the Senior Zone can further help even after this discussion. So we'll certainly keep you connected or stay connected with you. Speak to Tony, why is this program so important? And also, how does this program, work in more detail than you've shared already? So why is it important? I mean, it's because we are, again, changing future poverty rates in our country. We're giving students access to more opportunity in the future because they're prepared academically. Students who are not able to read fluently by, I believe it's, and I'll have to
to make sure I get this research right, but I believe it's by either third or fourth grade. If they don't have most of the skills down for reading, often they do not actually get those skills ever in their life, ever. I think it's like 25% do not actually get those skills to actually read fluently in their future. That's important. Wow. So that's why it matters, right? And honestly, and that's one of the reasons why volunteers keep coming back, right? One of the most incredible pieces of data we have about the program is that our volunteers serve an average of 5 years in our program, which is almost unheard of. You volunteer for a year or maybe 6 months, but most of our volunteers come back for 5 years to do it every year. Yeah.
And that does speak volumes. It speaks to the program. It speaks to what they are also receiving as a benefit as well. That give back to the community, that passing the torch to future generations and helping elevate and gravitate, that younger generation. That's such a give back and a benefit that you receive just by raising your hand, if you're able to volunteer with our youth, with our youth. And I didn't know that if you don't have those sort of skills by the fourth grade, that, your path, your pathway for success, is challenged, in many, many respects, and so this is an opportunity to raise your hand and help, mitigate that, if you will. So go on. I know I interrupted you. I think you were in the middle of a thought about the program and how it works.
Yeah, sure. Again, our tutors receive 20 hours of training annually, which includes 16 hours of pre-service training. And this is why this is important. We don't just throw you in there into the classroom and say, good luck, be nice and friendly, and then let's see what happens. We're giving you 16 hours of training before you even step foot in the classroom. We're giving you exposure directly to that classroom before you even start tutoring, before tutoring begins. And then when you are fully trained and you're prepared to be in the room, you're providing a 30-minute one-on-one or a small group tutoring session twice a week for a full year. As I explained earlier, most of our volunteers return for about 5 years. Our retention rate is 78% for our volunteers. So 78% of our volunteers come back every year.
Yeah, so this is not like your traditional, back in my day anyway, substitute teacher sort of role where you come in and babysit, students, and you may even be untrained. This is not that sort of opportunity. You're going to be trained to go into the classroom and so much more. This is like I said, not your typical substitute role sort of opportunity. Correct?
Not at all. There are high expectations for them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good. So, let's just, because we're almost out of time. Actually, we're almost out of time. Any other key benefits we need to talk about, Tony? Because I really want our folks out there that have the heart, as you mentioned at the top of our discussion, and have the time and will, and desire to reach back to the younger generation, just starting out in their life. Speak to that, again, because I really want to, get folks to, call you and raise their hands that just have that desire to just help and care about our youth. My airwave is yours, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just add my parting thought, my parting words before we, share more about how to get involved is, if you are the type of person that has a passion for service and you're looking for ways to get engaged and to serve, the time is now because of the pandemic. And we've always had a challenge, right? We've existed before the pandemic because there's always been a need for literacy and tutoring interventions in the city. But now it's so dire that, if you were just debating it for a while and you're on the fence and you're not sure when to get involved, this is the time to do it. If it wasn't last year or the year before, it is this year. Because today, the need is great. Today, there are more schools that need tutors than tutors exist right now, right? We're actively recruiting tutors for schools that we've already made a commitment to, and we still need tutors to actually fulfill that need. So this is really urgent, and you are going to make a huge difference. It's a guarantee, and I can almost guarantee, based on previous years and data, you'll probably come back to us year after year for a few years. That's how important and that's how meaningful and impactful this work is on the lives of the volunteer.
Great stuff. Now, how can our listeners learn more, get more information, reach out to you, website, telephone number, all that stuff?
Sure, yeah. So there are two ways to get involved. Of course, if you're over the age of 50, the best way to get involved is to just sign up and volunteer. And of course, the second way, if you don't have that time, or even if you're not over the age of 50, you can also just encourage your friends, your neighbors, your former colleagues, or current colleagues to get involved and to volunteer. We're looking for spokespersons as well. And you can call us directly at 202-434-6349. Again, 202-434-6349, or visit us on the web at www.aarp.org/experience core, and then select DC as the city you're looking for, because we're operating across the nation. And when you go there, you'll be able to learn that we have 1 hour virtual orientations where you can learn about the program online over the web without getting out of your house to learn more about if this is a good fit for you or not.
Great stuff, Tony. We are out of time, but I certainly welcome you back, want you back here on the Senior Zone. Thank you so very much, my friend.
Thank you for having me.